everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So today I have another 24-hour readathon. I'm going to be reading mangas, graphic novels, and comics through this one. And as with the last one of these I did, I have a timer set for 24 hours. When I'm not reading for this vlog, I'm going to pause it. And yeah, we're just going to see just how many mangas can I get through in 24 hours. I know the last time I did this, I wound up getting through like 35, but I am planning to do some maybe longer comics. And yeah, so this will be kind of a fun little thing to see how I stack up this time. So yeah, I'm going to start my timer and get on into it. I started out with Blank Canvas, my so-called artist's journey. This is Akiko Higashimura's autobiographical manga series, and I did find this very interesting. We basically follow her very briefly through her middle or elementary and middle school. This is mostly her final year of high school, college, and then after, and mostly about her relationship with the teacher who got her into art school, helped teach her how to draw and everything. And this is honestly like really heartfelt. She brings a lot of her emotions after the fact in as well. You know, she kind of breaks in and says, like, if only I had known. And I'm very upset, honestly, that the library only has the first 4, because that was an absolutely heartbreaking ending. And although I know where it's going, I also really want to see her and Sensei reconnect and everything. And yeah, this is one that if you are kind of into like the artist life, knowing kind of like how an artist lived while they were creating art, this is a good one. Honestly, I really like Akiko Higashimura. I read Tokyo Toriba Girls and really enjoyed that. I started Princess Jellyfish. Haven't finished it yet, but I did enjoy what I read of it. And I feel like, honestly, those two have a different type of art. This one is, I guess, maybe a more realistic type of art. And honestly, I really enjoyed like seeing her hometown and everything, and just kind of seeing how she thinks about herself, you know, like her 20-year-old self now that she is, I believe, so she's like 38 or so at the time of writing this. But yeah, I could definitely recommend this. And I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to go on to next, because as you can see by my little timer here, I still have just over 19 hours left. But I'll figure out what I'm going to read next and let you all know. You can see what my timer's down to over here. And I have now finished the 2 volumes of Otehin Diver that are available. And this was a interesting manga. I do like a lot of the art in it, although some of it does have a lot of fan service. And the plot is interesting, although to be quite honest, it's also very disjointed. So I really don't think I will be continuing this, because it was just, in all honesty, a little disappointing. But the idea behind it is very, very interesting. It takes place 16 years after this hydrocism has taken place and the whole world is basically overtaken by the ocean, and follow these girls who go to Inoshima Girls Ocean Academy. And they're split into different teams, whether they're medics, rescuers, divers, etc. Navigators is another one. And yeah, like I said, the idea was there, but the execution just was not. It's definitely one that you might enjoy flipping through, for at least like some of the pictures are very well done. And yeah, not a whole lot to say about this, other than that it was, like I said, rather disappointing to me. And after this, I am going to go on to, I believe, the Night Eaters. I might also possibly go on to Shugochara. I do plan to try to get through at least some of both of those in this readathon, but I will let you know when I get further into either one of those. I'm down to 7 hours and 45 minutes, and I have now finished the 11 main volumes of Shugochara. There are 12 total, but the 12th is just short stories, and what they follow is not what I originally wanted to read the series for. So this is a basically magical girl manga, much in the vein of Cardcaptors and Sailor Moon, and I'm sure there's some others, but these are like the 3 main ones that I can think of. And it follows Amu, who is a 4th grader in the very beginning. It follows her for about a week in the 4th grade, then all through 5th grade, and up to 6th grade graduation. And in her school, there are a group of kids that are called the Guardians, which they're basically supposed to be, I guess, like a student council. But there are only 4 or 5 of them, and they each have what is known as a guardian character or a Shugochara. And Amu finds out pretty quickly that she has some of these, and it basically follows her learning to be herself, learning about herself, and battling the Easter Corporation, who wants to steal these eggs for power, basically. And yeah, honestly, this was a pretty cute little fun series. I did feel like the ending felt just a tad bit rushed and a bit of a letdown after we had all these volumes leading up to the big battle. But yeah, overall, I feel like if you like magical girl transformation mangas, that you would like this. And also the art is very cute. I am a fan of Peach Pit's art. I have read Deers and Rose and Maiden by them. I have to say I like Rose and Maiden the best, then Shugochara, and then Deers is probably my least favorite. I just feel like they do better with younger characters, because Rose and Maiden, I believe, was also, yeah, they were middle schoolers in that one, and then Deers is the only one I've read by them where they were high schoolers, and to be honest, that one just had a little bit too much fan service for me, and it didn't really add anything to the story, at least not all of it. But yeah, so now that I've finished this, I will go on to Night Eaters and report back to you on what I think of that. I finished The Night Eaters by Marjorie Liu. And this was an interesting little trilogy of comics. It follows the twins Billy and Millie, and they are the children of Chinese American immigrants, and they find out pretty quickly that their mother and father have been keeping secrets from them. We don't truly get answers on what their mother and father are, which I did kind of like that. It added a whole lot of mystery to this, and I did honestly really like the ending and the messaging that was in there. I will say this first volume was a little slow till about halfway through. Then once we learn Ippo and Keon, their backstory, they're the parents, that's when it starts to get interesting. And then books 2 and 3 really pick up with the plot overall. And I do really enjoy as well seeing Billy and Millie kind of mature through this and learn different things. And yeah, it's definitely a strange one. I'd say it's somewhere between sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. So if you like horror, I really do think you would like this. And if you liked monstrous, you would definitely like the art in this. The story is definitely different, but the art is still really, really nice. And the story is still very interesting as well, even though it is different. So I did actually fall asleep with my timer running. I believe the last time I saw it, I had like 2 or so hours left. So I think I'm going to read just one more comic and then go ahead and wrap this up. For my last comic for this, I read Far Sector, and this was written by N.K. Jemisin. I have read her novel, The Fifth Season, and I found it very interesting. And the story in this is also quite fascinating, and I love the character of Sojourner Jo. I feel like she learns a lot here, and I feel like this is also a fun kind of extra into the Green Lanterns, although I do wish we would have gotten maybe a little bit more of her backstory. We only get like a page or two, and it is enough to kind of show what she's been through and everything. But yeah, quite fascinating characters and story and world in here, and I can definitely see there being room for a lot more here. And yeah, just absolutely fascinating. And if you like Green Lantern, I do think you would like this. So that's everything I have for you today. As always, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this 24 hours of graphic content. I do like that I was able to get some different types of content in here. I know last time it was all manga. I'm glad that I actually got to do some comics this time as well, because I do enjoy those. And let me know down below in the comments, have you read any of these? Do you plan to read any of these? Have you read anything like these that you think I would like? Always love hearing from you all down in the comments. And as always, if you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you next time in the book cave.